Hello, everyone. This is Sam Bowler with Culturalist. I'm here to give you an overview of how the event calendar widget setup works. First things first, you're going to need to be logged in. Excuse me. You're going to need to be logged in. And once you're logged in, you should see an event calendar option here in your side navigation. If you don't see that, please reach out to Culturalist, info@culturalist.com. Once you have clicked through to the event calendar, this is the panel where you do two things. The first is you set up which events you want to flow through from the general Dallas calendar through to your widget. And the second step is once you've decided those filters, you can then customize your widget with colors, with certain default filters, though I expect these are going to be seldom used at this point, the default view, and you can actually grab the embed code. The final part of this panel, separate from the settings, which affect the curate event step, is analytics, where once your widget is live, we're going to be able to show you back how many folks are using it and visiting it. Obviously, that's not live right now because this widget is not live. It's just a demo. So let's start here at the curate event step. The way to think about this is you get to decide which events flow through to your widget. And the way there's sort of two parts to that. The first is you can decide automatically we'd like certain events to flow through. I don't want to have to select them. Down here is a grid where this is more manual. You're selecting certain events from the at-large calendar. You're also able to see what has already been added, and that's added because it's been automatically picked, which I'll show you in a second how to set up. And then what's has been ignored in case you want to know what you already reviewed. So we're going to start at the very top here, and we're going to say we'd like one organization that we work with to be pulled in automatically. So when I get into my settings panel, I can customize the calendar title. This is optional. So if you don't put a title here, it won't show up. This is the title that I'm talking about here. So that lives there. Be sure to save title if you do change that. The first option I get is to whitelist all the events from the calendar, the public calendar in Dallas. And I expect that that'll be used by folks that want to pull everything in. You can always go back and deselect things, but this is for you pull in every single public event to the calendar, to your widget from the public at large calendar in Dallas. So if I select that, you see I lost an option down here, which we're about to get to. And that option is for specifically automatically adding organizations or artists that you work with to your calendar. And there's no need to do that if you're just saying, yep, give me all the events from Dallas. The next section here is where are your events coming from? We've got the option, and a few partners that will be seeing events from both Fort Worth and Dallas. So that's what this section is for. If you think there's an error in what regions you're seeing, please reach out to Culturalist. This is something we can figure on the back end. So moving down here to automatically add it to your calendar. Again, we wanted to make it easier for you so you don't have to review and add. If you don't want to select all the events up here, we want to make it easier for you so that you don't have to be selecting the events from the organizations that you do consistent work with or the artists that you recognize and want to bring through. So this outlines three options. The first is, by default, we're going to always bring events from your organization through to your calendar. That's by default. The next is additional organizations that you want to be pulling events from. So I'm going to say, I've already got one organization here, Artistry Soul Collective. We're going to say Art House East as well. So I'm going to save that change. When I save the change, I see now I've got two organizations that I'm automatically going to pull events from. I'm not going to add any artists at this time, but it works the same exact way. You can search artists by name and pull them in by default. So once I've decided what I want to automatically pull to my calendar, I'm going to come back to the curate events section. And I'm going to go to my added section and I'm going to see, okay, this auto added tag has been added to any of the organizations that I've said, yep, I trust them, bring them into my calendar. The other ones that don't have that tag, I've manually pulled in. So I've auto added from Artistry Soul Collective and from Art House East. Perfect. I've manually added this event from this artist here, this one from Stomping Ground Comedy. Let's say I change my mind. I'm going to remove that from my list. it goes in to the unreviewed, back to the unreviewed section. And I can actively ignore something. You know what? This is not, this one's not for me. You see that number go up for ignore. So that way I can just sort of work down my list of, yep, add this or don't add that, as well as getting the benefit of having some automatically pulled. When I am doing this, I can search by event title. I can only look at events in a certain region. I can say, let me see all the events from, a theater. Where do we have theater? Is there theater here? There should be theater. Okay, well, if there's not theater here, there should be. Performing arts org. Okay. So that allows me to be basically better filter and better understand what's there as I'm making these decisions. So once I've decided, okay, I've curated all the events I want to come through to my widget, I can go preview it. Here's my widget. I'm seeing all the events I've pulled through. I'm confirming, okay, great. Let me see. I'm going to deselect all that. Okay, so Master Gallery Photography, Happy Hour with Walt Burns, perfect. Right there, awesome. So I'm able to see what the calendar looks like. I'm able to select the default view. Let's do the list view, or let's do the calendar view. And you're able to see what, or decide what the default view is on your widget. You're able to search events, but this is exactly how the widget will show up. This section here is your default filters. Let's say you decide to run during theater week, you say, I only want live dance or theater performances to show up. You save those changes and your widget will only show theater events until you come back in and say, you know what, let's open this back up so that my widget can show everything. Be sure to save changes. So the same thing goes for genres or certain event creators that you want to further filter down your widget and the public view of it. You can adjust the colors of your widget, secondary color, accent color, that pops up here. Once you get good there, you're coming down to the meat and potatoes of this whole operation. You're going to say, you want to list your URL, and do so without the HTTP or HTTPS. So I'm going to say culturalist.com and www.culturalist.com. So these are going to marshal these as approved domains. And then I'm going to copy the embed code and I'm going to paste it in my site, and your widget will show everything here. If you want to make a change, you're able to make all these changes and you don't need to recopy or repaste a new iframe. It just is automatically going to know and pull it in for you. So save changes, and then you can take your calendar live. And as soon as it's live, we'll be able to pull analytics. This rotate embed URL is for, we wanted to provide you a safety mechanism. Let's say if you notice that your iframe has been stolen, even though we have this protection that we're not going to show it on any non-registered URLs. This is an added protection where, let's say you share your part with a partner, this iframe, and you let them use it on their site for a little while, and you give them approval by putting their domain here. Let's say you decide, change your mind, and you say, okay, we don't want the iframe to be visible on their site anymore. You can simply come in here and rotate that embed URL. It'll shut down the old iframe wherever it is, and it'll give you a new one. We don't expect you having to use this very often, but we wanted to give that protection in case something comes up where you decide, we want to reset things here. So I hope this is helpful. We are honored and excited to be providing this infrastructure to all of you. And so we want to make sure this works and it feels intuitive to you and provides value and efficiency to your organizations. So please let us know how this can, what else you need or how this could improve. We've got some, improvements already in the works, but that's how this gets better, is from hearing from you. So thank you for your time. This has already been a long demo and appreciate you hanging in. All right, y'all. info@culturalist.com if you need help. Talk soon.